Hi, this is Mary from the Daily Sew. Finding a hole in your sweater doesn't mean it has to be the end of your sweater. In just a few minutes, you can mend that hole and continue to wear that sweater for years to come. This will save you time and money, even though you have to put a little bit of time up front to do the mending. But believe me, 15 minutes of time to mend a sweater as opposed to hours of time trying to replace a sweater. So there are a bunch of different ways you can mend a hole in a sweater. I think I might have tried all of them. Well, I tried 9 of them. One of them was beyond my skill set completely. But hopefully there's one in this video that you can use to mend your sweater. So if you're ready, let's go. So there are a lot of different ways to mend a hole in a sweater. And first you want to consider the look you're after. Do you want to showcase that repair or do you want to have it blend in? And then you need to consider your skills and what materials you have on hand to work with. Remember, it is always your decision whether you want to match your repair work to the sweater or have it contrast. In this video, I'm going to match everything so that you can see what I'm doing. So this one is not mending, but if your hole is in a place where it doesn't look so awkward, you can easily just hide it by placing a brooch or a pin or something over the hole. And then you could add more as well, even if there's not another hole, just to play it up and make it look purposeful. So that's a repair you can do in under a minute. So this works really well for worn down areas. You see the little V's that your sweater makes? The way it is knitted, it will make either a loop or a little V depending on the pattern. Well, we're going to simply replicate those stitches. We're going to come up from the back, and where you have your worn down area, you want to start above it and beyond it and below it, of course, the worn area, so that you can anchor your repair into the stronger fibers, the fibers that are not yet worn down. And you're simply going to trace over all the stitches that you see in the sweater. So my sweater has little V's. I'm going to go over from the back over those little V's. And again, like I said, this works great for worn areas because you're just beefing up the fibers that are still there on the sweater, but just worn down. And you'll continue to work this way until you've covered the area that you need to cover. This is called Swiss darning, or a replicate stitch. And then in the end, when you've done it all, you will have something like this. And you can use embroidery thread or a thin yarn. So this is a visible mending approach. You're going to still have a hole when you are done with this. What I'm doing is I'm taking embroidery floss and I'm going around the hole with a blanket stitch. And a blanket stitch is done like this. The needle comes up from the hole toward the outside, and it goes over the thread before it, the floss before it. Let's see that again. So I'm going to hold that floss down. I'm going to come from under the hole, through the hole, I guess. And then I'm going to pull it, but I'm going to make sure that I have that trapped, that other thread under my new stitch. And my stitches are wide apart, and of course you can put your blanket stitches closer together. That's a different look, more of a solid look. You could fill them in. You could do it wide and then fill them in with a different color thread, a different blanket stitch that's tighter. And you go around and around the hole. And then you could even add more stitches later to really showcase the mend, making any object, including a donut or a flower. You could have a little stem coming across, and you could just go crazy with this one. To darn a small hole, what you will do is with yarn or embroidery floss or pearl cotton, go ahead and make some lines across the hole, like spokes on a wheel. Then you're going to be weaving in and out through those spokes. But in order for that to work, you have to have an odd number of legs coming from the center of the hole. So however you want to work that in, make sure you have an odd number in order to weave. And then when you're done, you're going to weave the tail of your thread or yarn into the sweater and through the back side, and then trim it closed. makes a cute little button. So basket darning is a traditional way of darning, and you're going to need something in between the layers to keep the layers separate. If you have a darning mushroom or a darning egg, you could use that. You simply wrap the sweater around it and tie a piece of yarn around the handle there and then work on it. Since a lot of us do not have a darning mushroom, a small embroidery hoop will do the trick as well. Put it in there, kind of taut, but not stretching the sweater out. Then you can work well. The other thing you'll need is yarn, and thin yarn if you're thin sweater, and thick yarn if you have a thicker sweater, and a large-eyed needle, which is called a darning needle. What do you know? So you're going to work a couple of rows on the outside of the hole. First, we're going to go vertically across the hole, so following the vertical rows that your knitted sweater has in it. And you're going to anchor your stitches into the sweater, like so. And you're going to go work up and down. You're going to follow that row or that column of stitches and leave a tail. Don't knot your yarn. And you're just going to go back and forth vertically across the hole, and you want those rows sort of taut, not super tight, but not loose either. And I'm going to try and anchor them in the same row so that they're all the same length. The same row across the bottom and the same row across the top. I'm going to go back and forth, anchoring in my yarn to the sweater. And then I realized I didn't start low enough, as the hole is not perfectly round. So, you just fudge it a little. So now we are going to weave. We're going to do the exact opposite direction. We're going to anchor in rows going horizontally across my vertical rows. But instead of just going across them, I'm going to weave through them. So again, anchor your yarn to the sweater and then weave through your vertical rows of repair yarn. And I'm going to leave that tail. The tails we're going to weave in later when we're all done. Anchor it on the far side and then flip it around and go back in the opposite direction. And as you work across, you're going to have to scooch down that yarn. What I mean by that is just push it down into place. Again, anchor your repair yarn to the sweater on the edges of the hole, beyond the edges of the hole. This is where the embroidery hoop and the darning mushroom come in handy, is keeping the repair yarns nice and flat so that you can weave through them and see them all in order to weave through them correctly. So now we're just going to weave in the tails, and you simply just thread a tail onto your needle. When that is actually the hardest part of this whole technique. And then you weave your tail in through and out of the sweater on the edges of the basket darning area, and then into the back side or the underside, and there you can just clip them close to the sweater. And you are done. Yeah, I like this look. I think it's a very neat and tidy way to darn a large area. All right, next up is machine darning, and many machines out there have a darning option, and you need to look for that icon that looks like a grid. And what that does is it will lower those feed dogs. Feed dogs are underneath the presser foot there. They're sticking up from the bottom. Here they are in a normal position, and then when I press in that button, they drop below the throat plate there. That's lowering the feed dogs. But with the feed dogs up, first you need to do is sew a piece of fabric underneath, sew it to the sweater, and it is placed underneath the hole that you are repairing or the worn out area that you are reinforcing. So I'm going to go around the hole. I actually have a hole here, but you could of course go around the edge of your worn out area, and you're going to catch that fabric that you've put on the back. You're going to catch that all the way around the edges, and you can trim that off later. Now I'm going to remove the presser foot and lower the feed dogs. Now I have nothing to move the sweater or the fabric because my feed dogs are lowered and I don't have a presser foot. But you do want to make sure that the lever for the presser foot is down so that the machine will actually form a stitch. Without anything to move it, that means my hands have to move it. So I am physically pushing the fabric and I'm making rows going in one direction and then going perpendicular to those first set of rows. Now, if you were darning in a tight area, like up in the sleeve, like at the elbow, you might need to either do it by hand, which is what I did, or you will open up the sleeve seam, lay it flat, darn it, and then re-sew the sleeve seam. So here it is, finished, completed. Got my perimeter, which sews down the backing fabric, and then I've got my darning stitches in the middle of that. And for the backing fabric, I used an old t-shirt. It does stretch like the sweater stretches, and it is soft on the skin of the wearer. So the excess fabric here, I cut it large on purpose because I can't really see through and make sure I was catching all of it. So I cut it large, and now I will just trim around the edge of that patch or that reinforcement fabric. It's a quick and easy way to darn. Another way to darn is to crochet if you know how to crochet. I do not, so I cannot actually show you, but I do have the steps for it on the accompanying blog post. What you do basically is take a tiny crochet hook, you pick up the stitches, you do one row, and then you transfer it to a larger crochet hook and you fill in the hole. That's great for holes that have to bend, like on the heel of a sock in particular. So if you know how to crochet, there's another option for you. That's what I meant by skill set. When you think about what repair you want to do, think about what skills you have available to you. So another way to cover a hole, a small hole, is to felt it. You take some wool roving and you felt it on over the hole. My best tip here is to use a proper felting mat or felting foam that is made for needle felting. I used a towel and it did not work. I broke the needle. So this time I'm going to use a proper felting mat. Okay, you're also going to need needle felting needles. They are special needles. This one is a special holder for a needle, but they have barbs on them, and that will tangle the wool roving fibers to the wool sweater fibers. This is not going to work on a rayon sweater or a cotton sweater. You have to have the wool. It's a special a quality of wool fibers that they tangle with each other and mat down. And this isn't just sheep's wool, but other animal fibers will have that tangle. You actually need very little amount of wool roving to start with. This is actually too much. And if you don't have enough, you can easily add to it. You will use the needle up and down vertically. If you start to have an angle to your up and down jabbing, the needle can break. So definitely make sure you're straight up and down as you jab the needle in and out of the fibers. As you do that, the fibers start to tangle, and that is what we call felting, when the fibers become flat and tangled and matted together like that. Every once in a while, I lift it off the mat just to make sure. And you can be more deliberate than I am about the shape that you are felting onto, and therefore it won't look like a piece of lint got stuck to your sweater. I use this on a navy sweater, and I matched the roving, and you cannot even tell there was ever a hole there. It's a really great method if you can match the roving to the sweater for small holes. Another way to take care of a hole, of course, is to patch it. And I've made a whole video about patching a sweater when I patched these elbows of this particular sweater. First, there is a patch underneath to stop the hole from growing, to reinforce the worn area, and then a patch over the repair to cover it up. And I have a link to that video in the description below if you would like more details on that method. But while we are here, and while I mentioned it, we are going to summarize how to put a patch on. First, your patch material should be stretchy like your sweater is, and if the edges of it unravel, you're going to want to take care of the edges with either a zigzag stitch or hemming it. I suggest using an old t-shirt. I find that works very well, tends not to unravel. You could even use an old sock, maybe one that you're missing the pair to. Just cut out a little piece, use it as a patch. The thing that you want to make sure is that your patch is bigger than the hole itself by about a ½ inch on all the sides. So go ahead and measure your hole after you trim it up and make sure your patch is big enough to be anchored into the stronger fibers of the sweater. You may not have a hole, it might just be a worn area like the elbows tend to be, and you would just make the patch bigger than that worn area. So the patch is going to go underneath. And then, of course, you can put a second patch on to cover it up. You will sew the patch down in place, first around the perimeter, and then you get closer to the hole with your running stitches, and then you will sew the edge of the hole down to the patch. And that is how you put a patch on. Again, check out the other video just on patching sweaters, and the link for that is in the description below. All right, so we've done, I can't even remember how many, 9, I think, different options here. Machine darning, we've done the replicate stitch or Swiss darning, embroidered a hole, didn't really repair it, but we did stop it from growing, darned a smaller hole with a crazy kind of darning, then of course the traditional darning of the basket darning, and then I did some wool roving. I don't show here the brooches, which is just hiding the patch or hiding the hole, and the patches, I didn't show the patches here. So lots of different ways. Hopefully one works for you. Well, hopefully you found this video helpful. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about any of these techniques, or if you know another way to mend a sweater, please put it in the comments below. We'd all like to know. And if you want more details about patching technique of a sweater, especially on the elbows, please be sure to check out my video that's all about that. I put the link for that video in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.